Good evening and welcome, everybody. It is 7 p.m. on Tuesday, February 19th, 2019. I'm calling this meeting of the Wausau Common Council to order. We'll begin tonight's proceedings with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please press yes to take, 2 seconds here. Okay. All right, please press yes to take roll call. There we go. We have 11 members present.
First off, I'd like to say thank you to everybody for understanding last week's Snowmageddon, as we call it. That's the first time that anybody can recall we've ever had to cancel a council meeting, but I really thought it was important for public safety and safety for all of you. And thank you all for allowing this to be rescheduled for tonight to be here. I also don't want to embarrass anybody, but I would really like to welcome back Ms. Kelbach. You have been missed. So glad you're here. And we do have a presentation tonight from the Samuels Group regarding the River Life Phase 1 settlement agreement. And sir, did you want to speak right now, or would you like to hold off on that till the very end? Okay, that works for me. All right then. Okay. Start off with the consent agenda, starting with file number 1901. 01 from the council, minutes of the previous open meetings. You see the dates indicated. And ending with file number 190108 from Public Health and Safety, a resolution approving or denying various licenses as indicated. I'll entertain a motion to accept the consent agenda. Motion by Mrs. Rasmussen. Do I have a second? By Mr. Neal. Mrs. Towle.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to request file number 190101 to be pulled off the consent agenda to be voted on separately because I will be abstaining from voting on that agenda item. Thank you.
Just one thing briefly I'd like to mention. The vote for the resolution approving and denying various license wasn't indicated on there. It did pass 4-0. So we have a motion and a second to vote on the consent agenda with removing the minutes, file number 190101, and you may begin voting. Ms. Herbst? There we go. That motion has passed unanimously.
Okay, so we'll move it down to resolutions and ordinances.
We need to do the minutes that were pulled off.
Okay, that's what I was going to do, but I was also going to mention something else. But we'll do the minutes first. So we will bring that back as far as file number 19-0101 from the council, minutes of the previous open session meetings from January 22nd, and minutes of the previous closed session meetings from November 13th, 2018, January 8th, 2019, and January 22nd, 2019.
Ms. Rasmussen is the motion. Mr. Peckham?
I have a second by Mr. Peckham. Thank you.
Begin voting, please. That motion has passed 10-0 with one abstention.
Okay. And I am pulling file number 07-0408, a resolution approving the amendments to the agreement between the Wausau Waterworks and the City of Wausau and the Village of Brokaw for the purchase of water at wholesale. These are still in negotiations as of this week. We're hoping to get something going in the near future. Ongoing talks with the Village of Maine. Okay, then going back to file number 19-0201, mayor's appointments. There are none at this time, but they're coming. File number 17-1109 from the Finance Committee, a resolution approving the budget modification for the airport fund. There's no net increase in the budget. This committee action approved 4-0. Entertain a motion to accept. Motion by Mr. Peckham. Do I have a second? By Mrs. Towle.
Oops, just a moment, please. Begin voting. Motion has passed unanimously.
File number 18-1109, a resolution of the Finance Committee approving the 2009 budget modification for the Capital Improvement Fund for asphalt overlay. Committee action approved 4-0. The fiscal impact will be $390,000. Entertain a motion to accept. Motion by Mr. Nutting. Do I have a second? By Ms. Herbst.
Begin voting. That motion is passed unanimously.
My apologies here. File number 17-1109 from the Finance Committee, a resolution approving the budget modification related prepayment of the developer agreement obligation at 2800 Stewart Avenue. Committee action approved 3-1. And the fiscal impact will be $184,059. Entertain a motion to accept. Motion by Mr. Nutting. Do I have a second? By Mrs. Rasmussen. Mrs. Tao.
I looked at the minutes in the packet, and I want to hear from Elder Smith on his no vote. I'd like to understand what led him to that outcome. There wasn't a lot of information in the minutes, so if you can share, please, I'd like to hear your perspective.
I voted against that. I have since gone back and read the developer's agreement, and the individual who's getting paid has satisfied all of the agreements, and I will be supporting it when it comes up for a vote.
All right, begin voting, please. Motion passed unanimously.
File number 02-1005, resolution of the Finance Committee approving the fee acquisition of land at 1032 South 3rd Avenue. Committee action approved 4-0. The fiscal impact will be $7,000. I'll entertain a motion to accept. Motion by Ms. Herbst. Do I have a second? By Mr. Peckham.
Begin voting. Motion passed 10-1.
I'll also entertain a motion to suspend the rule, Section 1, paragraph D, of the transmission of committee business to council for the items marked pending committee action. A two-thirds vote is required. I have a motion by Mr. Neal. Do I have a second? Everybody's so studious tonight. Wow. By Mr. Nutting. Thank you.
Begin voting. Motion passed unanimously.
File number 02-0432. It's an ordinance of the Common Council amending Chapter 2.16, the standing rules of the Common Council, Rule number 1, meetings. I brought this forward, frankly, to possibly change the times for starts of meetings to 6:30. This is to be cooperative with our friends at the county as far as their meetings, that type of thing, since we do have members here. And I would open it up for discussion and debate if you'd like. Otherwise, I'm sorry. First and second. I would need a first and a second, so to approve. Mr. Neal is the first, Mr. Peckham is the second. We'll open it up with Mrs. Rasmussen.
Thank you. We know historically this body has always met at 7, and in recent years, the county has changed its meeting time, which has created, I would say, some significant conflicts for people who are duly appointed. And so I would support this change. We do have the Finance Committee meeting before each council meeting, but I'm confident that we could we could manage the agenda such that we get the Finance Committee done in time. Very seldom in finance have we ever run up to 7 o'clock. It's happened a couple times, but I think if we manage the length of our agenda, we can get done in time to accommodate this change if it would help our duly appointed members get where they need to be on time.
Mr. Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I will not be supporting this. This is a situation where we have people on the council, and no difference to them, who are trying to serve two masters. You can't serve two masters. You either have to be on the council or you have to be on the county board. I feel that there's no reason for us to change our starting time to accommodate the county. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Can you turn off your light, Mr. Smith, please?
Any other comment?
Oops.
Mr. Nutting.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think it's a good compromise because the county has elected on those conflicting nights where the city council and the county meet at the same time. They've moved their meeting to 7:30. And so they're moving the meeting for nearly 50 individuals or more a half an hour later to facilitate the two or more serving on both elected offices. So would your time change only be those conflicting evenings, which are possibly
This would be
four, or is
permanent.
this a permanent?
This would be permanent.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. We have a motion by Neal, second by Peckham. You may begin voting. Ms. Herbst? There we go. That motion has passed 10-1.
File number 02-1005, a resolution of the Finance Committee approving fee acquisition of land and asphalt payment of 111 East Thomas Street. Committee action approved 5-0. The fiscal impact will be $1,750. Entertain a motion to accept. Motion by Mrs. Rasmussen. Do I have a second? By Ms. Herbst. Thank you.
Begin voting. That motion has passed 8-3.
File number 02-1005, a resolution of the Finance Committee approving the fee acquisition of land and asphalt payment at 131 West Thomas Street. Committee action approved 5-0. The fiscal impact will be $2,450. Entertain a motion to accept. Motion by Mr. Nutting. Do I have a second? By Ms. Kellbach.
Begin voting. Motion has passed 8-3.
Resolution of the Finance Committee for file number 02-1005, approving acquisition of 126 East Thomas Street. Committee action approved 5-0. The fiscal impact will be $59,000. Entertain a motion to accept. Motion by Ms. Herbst, second by Mr. Nutting.
Begin voting. Motion has passed 8-3.
File number 02-1005, a resolution of the Finance Committee approving acquisition of 130 East Thomas Street. Committee action approved 5-0. Fiscal impact will be $91,700 plus $12,600 for rent loss. Entertain a motion to accept. Motion by Mr. Nutting, second by Ms. Kellbach.
Begin voting. Motion has passed 8-3.
File number 02-1005, a resolution of the Finance Committee approving fee acquisition of land at 216 East Thomas Street. Committee action approved 5-0. Fiscal impact will be $8,900. Entertain a motion to accept. Motion by Mr. Nutting. Do I have a second? By Ms. Herbst.
Begin voting. That motion has passed 8-3.
File number 14-0707, a resolution of the Finance Committee approving fee acquisition of land at 1328 Curling Way. Committee action approved 5-0. The fiscal impact will be $7,000. Entertain a motion to accept. Motion by Mr. Martins, second by Mr. Peckham.
Begin voting. That motion is passed unanimously.
File number 18-0608, a resolution of the Finance Committee approving jurisdictional offer process to the owner of 817 South First Avenue. Committee action approved 5-0. The fiscal impact will be $200. Entertain a motion to accept. Motion by Mrs. Rasmussen. Do I have a second? By Mr. Nutting. Thank you.
Begin voting. That motion has passed 10-1.
File number 18-0608, a resolution of the Finance Committee approving jurisdictional offer process to the owner of 1008 South First Avenue. Committee action approved 5-0. The fiscal impact will be $200. Entertain a motion to accept. Motion by Ms. Herbst, second by Mr. Smith.
Begin voting. That motion has passed 9-2.
Resolution of the Finance Committee for file number 18-0608, approving the jurisdictional offer process to the owner of 1002 South First Avenue, 1007 South First Avenue, 932 South First Avenue, 934 South First Avenue, 924 South First Avenue, and 144 Rosecrans Street. Committee action approved 5-0. The fiscal impact will be $1,000. I'll entertain a motion to accept. Motion by Mrs. Rasmussen. Do I have a second? By Mr. Peckham. Thank you.
Begin voting. That motion has passed 10-1.
And at this time, I'll open it up for public comment to anybody out in the audience that would like to come forward to address any issues from tonight's council meeting or anything else going on. Now's your chance to come forward and speak. If you would, when you do, please come forward, say your name, your address, and who you represent, and make your presentation. Go ahead, sir. You're first.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. My name is Mike Burnatz. I'm the Chief Financial Officer for the Samuels Group. Sid Samuels had planned to be at last week's meeting, but obviously our lovely Wisconsin winter kept us from having that, and unfortunately he has to be traveling this week. So I'm here in his place, and I wanted to address your deliberations on the River Life project and the impact on the Samuels Group. Now, the Samuels Group has been a local business here for the past 15 years. We're a good corporate citizen in this city. The 70-plus people and their families live here and work here and support our local businesses and other charities. From support of the local shelters to the Humane Society to even helping out the Art Museum, moving some exhibits in and out, the Samuels Group has always been there to find or to help out the community needs. With the River Life project, the Samuels Group operated in good faith and has been impatient, waiting for the situation to get resolved. For over a year now, the Samuels Group has shouldered the financial burden for this project to the point where we can no longer sustain this debt. It has put enormous strain on our cash flow and limited our ability to operate with our lenders. We therefore respectfully request a partial payment to be made this week of the $2.5 million included in the settlement agreement that was approved at your last meeting in January. I understand an agreement has been drafted that includes an amount to be paid from the former developer. We further request the remaining debt under the agreement be paid as soon as possible shortly thereafter. We request the council amend the settlement agreement to provide for a final payment of the remaining monies owed to the Samuels Group to be made no later than April 1st of this year. Adding a not-to-exceed date will provide our lenders with the confidence they need to know we will be paid for the project and be able to move ahead with other needed financing for our company and the employees that support it. I thank you for your consideration.
All right, thank you, sir. Would anybody else like to come forward for any type of public comment? Going once, going twice. Anybody else wish to come forward? Okay, at this time I consider public comment closed. If I can ask for a volunteer to read the two different closed sessions. Not everybody
I'll
at
read the
once.
first
Come
one.
on. Okay.
I'll move that we go into closed session pursuant to Chapter 19.85, Paragraph 1, Sub G of the Wisconsin statutes for the purpose of conferring with legal counsel for the governmental body who is rendering oral or written advice concerning strategy to be adopted by the body with respect to litigation in which it is or is likely to become involved, for the purpose of conferring with legal counsel regarding petition for contested case hearing and petition for judicial review, case number 19 CV 32, regarding the Wisconsin Pollutant Discharge Elimination System Permit number WI-0025739-09-0.
Do I have a second? Second by Mr. Neal. Thank you.
Begin voting, please. That motion has passed 10-1.
And if I could have another volunteer for the other closed session. Mr. Smith. Go for it.
Go for it. I move we go into closed session pursuant to paragraph 19.85, paragraph 1, subsection G of the Wisconsin statute for the purpose of conferring with legal counsel for the governmental body who is rendering oral or written advice concerning strategy to be adopted by the body with respect to litigation in which it is or is likely to become involved, for the purpose of conferring with legal counsel regarding amendments to approve lien settlements associated with River Life Village's Phase 1 project.
Do I have a second? Second by Mr. Neal.
Begin voting. Motion has passed 10-1.
And with these decisions, we will reconvene back in an open session to take action on the closed session items. Thank you. We're back in open session now.
Yep.
And in regards for the first part of the closed session, in regards for legal counsel regarding petition for contested case hearing and petition for judicial review, case number 19CV32 regarding Wisconsin pollutant discharge elimination system permit number I0025739-090. And with the resolution of the Wausau Waterworks Commission authorizing the filing of contested petition and a petition for judicial review and authorizing the city's attorneys to take further action on behalf of the city and the Wausau Waterworks relating to the Wisconsin pollutant discharge elimination system permit issued by the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources. I'll entertain a motion to accept. Motion by Mr. Neal, a second by Ms. Herbst.
Begin voting. That motion has passed 10-0.
And then for the second part of our closed session, as far as adopting the by the body with respect to litigation which is likely to become involved for the purpose of conferring with legal counsel regarding amendments to the approved lien settlements associated with the River Life Villages Phase 1 project, a resolution of the Common Council approving of amendment to approved lien settlements with the Samuels Group and Barker Financial LLC regarding the River Life Villages Phase 1 project. And the committee action will be here in a second. Fiscal impact will be $450,000 from Barker Financial to be paid directly to the Samuels Group. I'll entertain a motion. Motion by Mr. Neal. Do I have a second? By Mr. Nutting. Mrs. Rasmussen.
Thank you. I want to be clear on this resolution. This resolution only authorizes Barker Financial to pay Samuels Group the $450,000 sum. This is funds that Barker owed to Samuels in the first place. It does not approve any other sum and no final dates. So we're only approving that Barker can remit $450,000 to Samuels, but we're not committing to any other provisions based on what anybody heard here tonight.
This is directly not from the city. Okay. Mr. Peckham.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would move to amend this motion to stipulate that the $450,000 from Barker be paid proportionally to all the lien holders, and I believe that would then include just Mudrovich and Ayers. I think there are just three of them.
Just a moment, please.
You take the total they're owed and divvy up the $450,000 accordingly.
They're order the amounts we settled with them for.
The settlement amounts that were agreed upon.
Is there a second for that amendment? You second it, Mr. Smith? Okay. All right, Mr.
Mr.
Smith?
Smith?
Oops. Are you addressing the item for the amendment?
Actually, I want to
Withdraw your second, okay. Mr. Neal, are you seconding this? We're at the amendment here, I'm sorry, I'll clarify. We're requesting a second to Pat's amendment. Is there a second? I'll ask one more time. That amendment does fail due to a lack of a
And
second.
Mr. Smith, if you could turn off your light,
Nope,
please.
we
Oh,
we don't need to vote, so he
Okay.
did want to adjust the
just want to make sure.
first item.
Originally, when we were getting into this, we were assured that we would not make any payments whatsoever until we had a developer's agreement. We still do not have a developer's agreement, but we're making payments. Also, Samuels, as Mr. Peckham noted, isn't the only one that's owed money here. While I can certainly feel compassion for Samuelson with their plight, however, that's really not the city's responsibility. I think that we should withhold any money until we get a developer's agreement, and then the money can be dispersed, everybody made whole, and we'll go about our business. Thank you.
Ms. McElhaney?
Thank you. I just want to say that I agree with Alder Smith. I feel that in doing this, the agreement that was presented to me as an alderperson in my voting was that once the development agreement, we would then give out the lien settlements that were done. I as Alder Smith, understand that Samuels is in a pinch, but we did not put them there. That is something, we're getting close to an agreement, and I just made that promise to my residents that this was what we were going to do, and I feel very strongly that I can't change that right now.
Thank you. Mrs. Rasmussen?
Thank you. Just based on, some of the conference that we've had with our outside legal counsel that I won't divulge here, I think that, it does behoove us in the interest of, settling in good faith per some of the agreements that we have negotiated. This is a payment by Barker to a contractor that worked for Barker. This is not the city cutting a check out of a TID. This is not the city dispersing funds, on a set schedule or on a set deadline. So that said, this amount would be deducted from the sum total of the settlement that we had reached with Samuels. And so, based on that, I will support it, and we'll go forward from there.
Mr. Smith?
Nevertheless, when we first voted to accept this deal, we were told that no money would be dispersed until we had a developer's agreement. We do not have a developer's agreement. I don't know what people don't understand about it. It's a fairly simple concept, that we don't have a developer's agreement. And we shouldn't be dispersing any money where it's Barker's money, our money, Daddy Warbucks' money, until we have a developer's agreement. Thank you.
All right, we have a motion by Neal, a second by Nutting. You may begin voting. Kelbach and Rasmussen, I didn't get a vote in there from you. And, okay, there we go. That motion has passed 6-4.
All right, seeing nothing else coming for the council tonight, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Motion by Mr. Peckham. Do I have a second? By Ms. Herbst. All those in favor signify by saying aye. And we are adjourned. Thank you, everybody. Have a great night.